The discussion up to this point has rightly focused on history. And it confirmed that we need a firmer grasp of history to understand Russia's actions today. We need a firmer grasp than we now possess. For one thing, I never use the terms Putin and Russia interchangeably. I never say Putin's policy, Putin thinks, Putin calculates, Putin has done this or that. Putin is the personification of the eternal Russia. He is the latest incarnation of a permanent Russia. These are historically developed organic Russian policies. That's the first point, historically. Analytically, it is also wrong to equate Putin with Russia, Putin's person with Russia. Russia's decision-making is based at the top on an interdepartmental process. Russian decisions are being taken after elaborate consultations with Russia's foreign and national security policies at the top. They reflect a carefully developed consensus among these institutions. Once again, they are not Putin's policies, they are Russia's structural policies. And thirdly, it is politically dangerous to reduce our problem to Putin's person. Because when Putin is no more, when he, for natural reasons, disappears, I predict, based on precedent, that there will be a rush among Western statesmen to reach out, open themselves to the new Russian leader. As we have seen after Stalin, after Khrushchev, after Brezhnev, after Gorbachev, and even after Yeltsin, as we saw with Putin, when Western leaders rushed to embrace the new Russian leader in the forlorn hope that he would be different. We need a firmer grasp of history. About Yalta and spheres of influence that were a topic of discussion on this panel. The problem dates back earlier, and I'm very happy that Professor Hrycak touched on it, because very few people are aware of Ukraine's place, Germany's place during the First World War. I'm very glad, because so few people in the West are aware of what Professor Hrycak just said. On the Eastern Front, in 1915, the Central Powers were the winners. They broke Russia's back, and under Germany's protective wing, we saw the emergence of new nation states in the Baltic states, Ukraine and Georgia. And by the way, at that time, that was a matter of internal political consensus in Germany, because the German Social Democrats and the German General Staff were in agreement that Germany, and by extension Europe, needed independent states allied with Germany between Europe and Russia. The Yalta settlement in 1945, in fact, had Germany and the Central Powers not won in 1915 on the Eastern Front, we would have had a Yalta at the end of the First World War with a victorious Russia. Remember Russia's program of annexations in Eastern Europe in agreement with the Entente. Russia was going to annex the entire former territory of the former Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, including here Galicia. You remember that in 1914-1915, Russia started an intensive program of Russification of Galicia. And you remember that the Entente had promised Russia the Constantinople and the Straits to be annexed directly to the Russian Empire, which would have turned the Balkans into a Russian sphere of influence long before the Churchill-Stalin percentage deal of 1944. So we have this recurrent tendency on the part of Western statesmen to reward Russia for its services as an ally. Third point, and final point regarding history. It is wrong, in my view, to start a discussion, or rather to claim credit for Ukraine no, let me put it differently. It is wrong to start a discussion about Ukraine in terms of counting and measuring the contribution of this or that player to the outcome of the Second World War. The entitlement of Ukraine to be an independent nation state has nothing to do with the outcome of the Second World War. It predates it. Ukraine was entitled to that already before and during the First World War. So let's not start a discussion about grounding Ukraine's right to be an independent state into whoever contributed more or contributed less to the outcome of the Second World War. Now, directly to Miroslava's question about the Minsk agreement in the few minutes that are remaining. I regard the Minsk, I never call it agreement. To call Minsk agreement is like telling a German about the Versailles agreement. National and legal right to recover its territory and its border. It is no longer unconditional, it's a conditional. And this is because Russia was able to impose these conditions under force of arms. I recognize the fact that Ukrainian leaders and international diplomats have to pay lip service to the Minsk armistice, to say that yes, we want to fulfill the Minsk armistice. Lip service. But this must not be fulfilled. Ukraine has no obligations under the Minsk armistice. There is no such thing as Ukrainian obligations. What international diplomacy, first and foremost Western powers, should do is to help Ukraine out of the Minsk armistice. Not to impose on Ukraine to fulfill the political clauses, but to help Ukraine out of the political clauses of the Minsk armistice. This is the challenge. And Ukraine has helped a lot by introducing what I call safeguards against implementing the political clauses of the Minsk agreement. Safeguards, security safeguards. First, withdrawal of Russian troops, including armaments. Not keeping the armaments in place under some kind of protection, but over the border. Second, democratic safeguards. Elections cannot be held under existing conditions in that territory. And I hope very much that the legislation that the Ukrainian parliament voted on October 6th in the first reading about the conditions of restoring Ukraine's sovereignty in the occupied territory, I hope will be adopted expeditiously in the second reading on December 8th. Thank you.